Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Power Playbook. If you're ready to unlock the secrets of power and strategy, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most thought-provoking lessons from the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Law 2, never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. This isn't just a rule. It's a complete rethink of how you approach relationships, loyalty, and even your fiercest rivals. We're going to break this law down piece by piece, explore a fascinating historical tale straight from the pages of the book that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, and then bring it into the modern world with a real-life story that might just mirror something you've experienced. By the time we're done, you'll have a new perspective on trust, a strategy to turn enemies into assets, and a toolkit to navigate life's power games like a pro. So grab a notebook, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together, because this lesson could change the way you see everyone around you. Let's start by unpacking what Law 2 is all about. At first glance, it might sound a little harsh. Never put too much trust in friends. That goes against everything we're taught, right? We grow up believing that friends are our rock, the people we can turn to when the world gets tough. But Robert Greene, the mastermind behind the 48 Laws of Power, challenges that cozy idea. He argues that friends, as close as they might be, can sometimes be the weakest link in your pursuit of power. Why? Because human nature is complicated. Friends can start off loyal, but over time, jealousy, complacency, or even a sense of entitlement can creep in. When you succeed, when you start climbing the ladder of influence, they might feel threatened or left behind, and that's when the cracks appear. Imagine this scenario. You've been working hard on a project, pouring your heart into it, and you bring your best friend along to help because you trust them implicitly. At first, they're excited, cheering you on. But as your success grows, they might start to wonder, why am I not getting the same recognition? Or worse, they might slack off, thinking their friendship gives them a free pass. Greene calls this out. Friends can become spoiled or tyrannical when they feel too secure. They might even turn on you, either out of envy or because they think they deserve more than they're getting. Now, here's where Law 2 gets really interesting. The second part, learn how to use your enemies. This might sound counterintuitive, even crazy. Enemies are the people who challenge you, criticize you, or outright oppose you, right? So why would you want to deal with them? Greene's point is brilliant. Enemies can be more reliable than friends in certain situations. Why? Because they start with no illusions. They're not pretending to love you or support you. They're already against you. That means if you can find a way to win them over, to turn their energy to your side, they'll work harder to prove their worth. An enemy-turned ally has something to gain and something to lose, which can make them more committed than a friend who takes your trust for granted. Let's paint a picture to make this stick. Suppose you're running a small business and you've got a friend managing your social media. They're posting sporadically, missing deadlines, and maybe even resenting you for being the face of the company. Now, imagine a competitor who's been undercutting your prices and trash-talking you online. Instead of fighting them, you reach out with a proposal. Let's team up on a joint promotion. Your audience, my product. Suddenly, that competitor has a reason to cooperate, and they might pour effort into making it work to show they're not just a rival. That's the magic of Law 2, rethinking trust and turning opposition into opportunity. But why does this matter so much? Because trust is the currency of power. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building a personal brand, navigating family dynamics, or even playing team sports, who you rely on and how you handle your critics can make or break your success. This law isn't about cutting off friends or living in paranoia. It's about being shrewd, understanding human behavior, and using every relationship to your advantage. It's a mindset shift that takes practice, but once you get it, you'll see the world of power in a whole new light. All right, let's go straight to the source and hear it from Robert Greene himself. Here's how Law 2 is laid out in the 48 Laws of Power. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Friends will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy and he will be more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. There it is, word for word, and it's a wake-up call. Greene's not just throwing out advice. He's giving you a psychological insight into why friends can falter and why enemies can become your secret weapon. It's a law that forces you to question your assumptions and rethink your alliances, and that's what makes it so powerful. Now, let's travel back in time to one of the most captivating stories from the 48 Laws of Power, the tale of Cosimo de Medici, a political genius in 15th century Florence. This story, straight from Greene's book, is a masterclass in trust, betrayal, and strategic maneuvering. So let's set the stage and dive deep into the details. It's the 1430s, and Florence is a buzzing hub of art, commerce, and political intrigue. Cosimo de Medici isn't an official ruler. He's a wealthy banker who uses his money and influence to pull the strings behind the scenes. He's the head of the Medici family, a name that will soon dominate Renaissance Italy, but back then, he's still building his empire. Florence is full of rival families, like the Albizzi, who want to knock him down, and Cosimo knows he needs allies to survive. One of those allies is his close friend, Francesco Soderini, a respected figure in the city's elite circles. Soderini isn't just a casual acquaintance. He's part of Cosimo's inner circle, someone he trusts to help manage finances, rally support, and keep the Medici safe from their enemies. For years, this friendship works. Soderini helps Cosimo navigate tricky political waters, and Cosimo rewards him with influence and wealth. But as Cosimo's power grows, building grand projects, winning over merchants, and outsmarting his foes, something shifts. Greene tells us in the book, Cosimo de Medici learned early that friends can be unreliable. His friend Francesco Soderini, out of envy of Cosimo's growing power, began to plot against him, aligning with the rival Albizzi family to undermine him. Let's pause and unpack that. Soderini starts feeling the weight of Cosimo's success. While Cosimo's name becomes synonymous with Florence's golden age, Soderini's role shrinks in comparison. Envy takes root, and instead of celebrating his friend's rise, Soderini decides to betray him. He secretly joins the Albizzi family, Cosimo's sworn enemies, plotting to overthrow the Medici and take control. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was a calculated move, driven by jealousy and a desire to reclaim his own spotlight. The Albizzi promise Soderini power if he helps them topple Cosimo, and Soderini bites. Cosimo catches wind of the plot just in time, thanks to his network of spies, a smart move Greene praises throughout the book. The betrayal stings, but it teaches Cosimo a harsh lesson. Even the closest friends can turn when their ego is bruised. Instead of wallowing, Cosimo decides to apply the second half of Law 2, learning to use his enemies. One of his biggest rivals is Niccolo da Uzzano, a key leader in the Albizzi faction. Uzzano has been a thorn in Cosimo's side, leading attacks on his reputation and trying to block his influence. But Cosimo sees an opportunity. Rather than crushing Uzzano outright, Cosimo takes a different tack. He sends a message through back channels, offering Uzzano a deal. Switch sides, work with the Medici, and keep some of his wealth and status. It's a risky move. Uzzano could reject it and double down on the rivalry, but Cosimo knows human nature. Uzzano, facing pressure from the Albizzi's failing schemes, sees the writing on the wall. He agrees to align with Cosimo, and Greene notes, by employing his former enemy, Cosimo gained a more dedicated ally, for Uzzano had to demonstrate his loyalty to erase his past hostility. This wasn't just a one-time truce. Uzzano becomes a fierce defender of the Medici, using his connections to help Cosimo exile the Albizzi family and solidify his rule over Florence. Meanwhile, Soderini's betrayal leaves him isolated. He loses his allies, his influence, and eventually fades into history's shadows. Cosimo's strategy pays off spectacularly, turning a potential disaster into a triumph. Why did this work so well? Soderini's friendship gave him a sense of ownership, making him jealous when Cosimo outgrew him. Uzzano, as an enemy, had to prove himself, which made him more diligent and loyal. Cosimo could have kept trusting friends and risked more betrayals, but by pivoting to his enemies, he transformed a liability into a strength. This story isn't just history. It's a playbook for how to handle trust and rivalry, and it shows why Law 2 is so timeless. Now, let's bring Law 2 into the 21st century, with a real-life story that might feel all too familiar. Meet Priya, a driven marketing manager who started her own digital agency in 2024. Priya had big dreams, creating campaigns for small businesses, and she wanted to build her team with people she knew. Her childhood friend Raj seemed like the perfect fit. They'd grown up together, shared countless late-night talks, and Raj had some experience in sales. Priya trusted him completely, making him her co-founder and giving him control over client outreach. At first, everything clicked. Raj brought in a few clients, and Priya handled the creative side, designing stunning ads that wowed their audience. The agency started to grow, and Priya poured her savings into it, confident that Raj had her back. But as the months went by, problems emerged. Raj started showing up late to meetings, blaming traffic or personal issues. He'd promised to follow up with clients, but often forgot, leaving Priya to clean up the mess. Worse still, during a big pitch to a major client, Raj took credit for Priya's campaign ideas, saying, "I came up with this vision," while barely mentioning her. The client signed the deal, but Priya felt a knot in her stomach. Her friend had undermined her in front of everyone. The betrayal hit hard. Priya confronted Raj, but he brushed it off, saying, "We're friends, you'll get over it." That's when Priya realized her mistake. She'd put too much trust in someone who felt entitled because of their history. The agency's reputation was at stake, and Priya knew she couldn't rely on Raj anymore. Feeling lost, she turned to a business coach who'd studied the 48 laws of power. The coach said, "Friends can let you down, but enemies can be your strength. Look at your competition." Priya thought about Laura, a rival marketer who'd been a constant challenge. Laura ran a competing agency and had once publicly criticized Priya's early work, calling it amateurish at a networking event. It stung, but Priya saw an opening. She reached out to Laura with a bold idea. "Let's collaborate on a joint campaign. Your client list, my designs. We split the profits." Laura was skeptical at first. Why team up with someone she'd mocked? But Priya sweetened the deal, offering Laura a chance to showcase her own skills and prove she wasn't just a critic. To Priya's surprise, Laura agreed. The collaboration was intense. Laura worked late nights to bring in clients, determined to show she could deliver. Priya poured her creativity into the campaign, and together they landed a contract with a national brand, far bigger than anything Raj had ever secured. Laura's effort was relentless, driven by a need to erase her past rivalry, while Raj continued to coast, eventually leaving the agency after Priya confronted him again. She replaced him with a hired professional, and the agency thrived. By using Laura, her former enemy, Priya turned a rivalry into a partnership that saved her business. This story brings Law 2 to life. Priya learned that friends can take advantage of trust when they feel too comfortable, but an enemy, once engaged, has a stake in proving themselves. Think about your own journey. Have you ever leaned on a friend who let you down, or found an unexpected ally in someone you once clashed with? That's the power of rethinking trust and turning foes into forces for good. Before we close this epic exploration, let's take a moment for the Power Playbook. We're your guide to mastering life's challenges through the wisdom of books like The 48 Laws of Power. If this deep dive into Law 2 sparked any insights for you, please hit that like button. It really fuels our mission. And subscribe with the bell icon turned on so you never miss a single lesson. We've got so much more power-packed content coming your way. So let's wrap up this incredible journey through Law 2. The core message is crystal clear. Never put too much trust in friends. Keep your guard up and your eyes open, because even the best relationships can crack under the pressure of power. Instead, learn to use your enemies, turning their opposition into a driving force for your success. Whether it's Cosimo de Medici outsmarting a traitor with the help of a rival, or Priya transforming a critic into a partner, this law teaches us that power isn't just about who you love, it's about who you can strategically align with. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever placed too much trust in a friend and felt the sting of betrayal? Or maybe you've turned an enemy into an unexpected ally in a way that surprised you? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experiences might inspire our next video. And don't you dare click away yet. Stick around until the very end for an exclusive sneak peek at our next adventure, where we'll tackle Law 3, Conceal Your Intentions. This one's going to reveal secrets about hiding your plans that'll blow your mind, so you won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into power and strategy. You're the reason we keep creating, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, keep playing the game wisely, and I'll